a research neurologist. For many years, I've worked as a change agent with organizations, professional sports people, and individuals in my clinic who want to break through from where they are at this moment in time and perhaps look at different things in their life. Well, a couple of weeks ago, we started off on this series of talks, this series of discussions. And what we discussed a couple of weeks ago was why you are who you are. And we talked about your neurology, we talked about your value belief system, and we talked about your psychological filter system so that you delete, distort, and generalize things that come in through your five senses, through your eyes, your ears, your taste, your smell, and your touch. And really that determines your view on reality. And as such, the view of your world is limiting your opportunities. Now, if you're doing fantastic, you're doing great, well, super. This is just a learning opportunity, and that groove that you're in, that zone that you're in is fantastic, and you should keep on doing it. But the people that I work with, the people that I see, are people who are in a more of a rut than a groove. And as years goes by, as that rut gets deeper, and it becomes more and more difficult to achieve your potential as you're going through life. So this week, understanding our neurology and why we are who we are, what I thought is we'd move on to the next step, which is also the next step on the breakthrough training that I do. And there's one particular thing that has come to my notice more and more over the last months whilst the COVID-19 pandemic has been going on. And that's to do with something that a guy called Daniel Goleman coined the phrase about 10, 20 years ago. And he coined this phrase, the amygdala hijack. And I think it's worthy of a session, 15 to 20 minutes, just to talk about what this is. This is having a massive impact on people that I'm working with. Most of my work, in fact, all of my work now is online because of the distancing, because we've got to avoid each other during this particular crisis. So what is the amygdala hijack and what is the amygdala? So I'm going to talk about that. And what I'd like to do is just share a diagram so you guys can see what the amygdala is and what it does. I'm just going to take that title out of the way so that we can see what the So what is so important. Okay, sorry, I just got a message from guys to say that you can't hear what's going on. So I'm just going to do a quick check to make sure that the audio is working. I'm sorry about yesterday, by the way, because that caused a bit of a problem when Facebook crashed and stopped me being able to do what was necessary. Just give me a second. Okay, guys, apologize about this. I'm just trying to work out this new system that I've got. Can someone just give me a check? Can you hear me, Hazel, from Belgium? If you could just give me a check, a sign to say that you can hear me, okay? So that I can just carry on. Okay, I'm told by Zane in Arizona that it's working out. It's just a problem when I shared the screen. So let's get back to where I was. So at least you've seen where the amygdala fits within your brain and what the prefrontal cortex is. Now, this ancient fight or flight system was great 200,000 years ago when we were cave people and we needed to release some certain chemicals into our system. And in fact, it's the same chemicals today as it was 100,000 years ago. And these chemicals, there's two hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. Now, these are fantastic because they boost your systems. They boost your systems and enable you to either swiftly run away or fight. Okay? So that's as I said, that was great 100,000 years ago. But nowadays, there's no escape. What happens is little tiny things are occurring on a day-to-day basis. Getting stressed. The COVID-19 system is responsible for these stresses. We can't work. We can't earn money. We're stuck together with our families that we love so much. However, even I love my darling wife and daughter so much. My gosh, the tension gets in there. And what happens is this adrenaline, this cortisone can't reduce. And it's like this even without the COVID-19 crisis, when we're in a work situation, the stress levels move up and up and up because we don't give the body the opportunity to reduce the cortisol or the adrenaline levels. And I'm going to go into how we can reduce that and how it can have a significant impact on how you feel at the moment in time. But whilst we're talking about the amygdala, I just want to, and I want to show you and tell you about the message systems that can control, and in fact, what I call hijacked, what Daniel Goleman 20 years ago called the amygdala hijack occurs and how it occurs. You see, there's two message systems, two ways of transmitting information for your body to move its physiology into a particular state. Under normal circumstances, we send information through our five senses, through our prefrontal cortex, and we analyze and we decide based on our understanding of the world, which might not be perfect, but that's not for today's for today's discussion. Now, that information takes a little bit of time, and by time I mean it might take half a second for you to distill that information based on your emotions, based on your experience. You'll make a decision about what you're going to do in a particular situation. Now, what the amygdala hijack is all about is our system, as we have been designed, as we react, we overreact because we've got a message system, a message center. It's like the CIA center at Langley. And basically, that's called the thalamus inside our brain. And if the thalamus thinks it's a threat or a risk, it bypasses our opportunity to analyze what's going on. So it bypasses our cortex, goes straight into the amygdala, and the amygdala doesn't waste any time. It reacts. It releases massive amounts of adrenaline, cortisol, and it takes over our emotions. And what will happen is you will feel your heartbeat increase, your respiration will increase, your hands and your body will go clammy, and you might react very aggressively to those who you are with at that moment in time. Now, what happens is, after a little while, a few seconds, the cortex kicks in. The adrenaline reduces slightly, the cortisol reduces, we get a little increase in dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. We think about what's happened, but it's too late. It's happened. Your amygdala has hijacked your system without your wishes, because that's how the ancient system works. Now, afterwards, and I'm sure you've been in that situation before, excuse me, where you feel a little bit embarrassed because you've overreacted to a situation. That's the amygdala hijack. You know, I work with professional sports people, not in the last few months for obvious reasons, but even when you look on the TV, or if you're fortunate to be in the stadium live, you can see the amygdala hijack working with players on the pitch. Now, in America, was it a few months ago, there was that the American football game when the guy from one team ripped the helmet off the other guy on the other team and hit him on the head with it. My goodness, that was an amygdala hijack. That was an aggressive way of reacting. All because the amygdala overtook him and controlled him. I work with professional soccer players in the UK, and I work with helping these soccer players overcome this hijack. You've seen it when a player loses control and he will slide into another player, causing a tackle, might even get a yellow card, or even worse, a red card, and get sent off, causing more than likely his team to lose. Well, can you imagine this is happening to professionals? You've seen it in boardrooms, where, even in the movies, if you're not part of the corporate environment, where people lose and become aggression. They lose control. This is all the amygdala hijack. And what I'm going to talk about in the next few minutes is how you can control that amygdala from hijacking, from releasing, over-releasing adrenaline and cortisol. Now, don't get me wrong, in a danger situation, this is required. However, we are not in danger situations that create the overreaction, the hijacking on a day-to-day basis. So how do you get over the amygdala hijack? And how do we try and increase the opposite chemicals, the serotonin, the dopamine, the serotonin, which can quickly reverse the amygdala hijack chemicals of adrenaline and cortisol? Well, the first thing is to recognize. Well, I've told you what an amygdala hijack is now. You get increased heartbeat, you breathe deeply, you can feel yourself perhaps going a bit red in the face, the anger is rising, the red mist is rising. So one, we've got a recognition of what's going on. And what I want you to do and what I want you to practice is something called box breathing. Now, you might have heard of box breathing, but it's a way of regaining control of this particular hijack. And the box breathing is close your mouth. As soon as you feel yourself getting angry with these symptoms that I've said, close your mouth, breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds and hold it for 4 seconds. Then breathe out through your mouth for 4 seconds and hold it for 4 seconds. Can you imagine this 4-second box that we're getting into? And do this 5 or 6 times. So 5 or 6 times, less than what, just over a minute, a couple of minutes, you regain control. You regain sufficient control. And that's all you need, is to regain sufficient control so that your prefrontal cortex can start kicking in. It can start analyzing the situation. It can start understanding why you feel like you do, but bringing that control back. Now, this lack of control causes anxiety, it causes stress, it brings back PTSD. And I work a lot with the military on PTSD, and a lot of it is to do with recognizing the symptoms and understanding how perhaps you can control those symptoms. So the immediate action is box breathing. 4 seconds breathing, hold, 4 seconds, breathe out, hold, 4 seconds. Just repeat that, 4, 5, 6 times till you get control. And that's the immediate reaction. And amazingly, what happens is when you regain control, you get a self-reward within your brain. Your cortex rewards you. It starts releasing serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. And that starts to reverse. It almost waters down the adrenaline and the cortisol. And amazingly, what happens is, over a period of time through this particular control, you can actually reduce the size of the amygdala. You're reducing the size. It's still there for when it's a danger moment, but you're reducing the size, and therefore you're reducing the impact of the hijack, of the control over your body. Now, going forward, I want to just have a quick word about what you can do to help your system, your brain, your body prepare itself and get ready to fight this particular hijack. And there's a couple of ways. One is through, and I'm sure you've heard of mindfulness. And if you go onto my page on the videos, there's 3 or 4 minute videos, 3 or 4 minute video which talks about a moment of mindfulness. Now, this stuff works. There's an American guy called Kabat-Zinn who introduced mindfulness into the West direct from the East in the 70s. This stuff works. It helps you to relax. It helps you to have an opportunity for thoughts to come through your head, non-judgmental thoughts, but it will calm. So on a daily basis, mindfulness is a big one. Now, a lot of you might not be aware, whereas mindfulness and other meditation and affirmations work, the food you eat and the drinks you drink have a massive impact on your ability to reduce adrenaline, cortisol, and stress, and increase serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine. And these are very much health foods. And I'm not a nutritionist. However, by eating healthy, by eating less red meat, by eating eating good food, nuts, fiber, turkey, non-processed meats, and drinking lots of water, taking things like, and I've got 2 great friends across in the States, and we have a group, we have a coaching group called Ignite Your Life, and these guys are into greens, homemade greens, and my favorite, blueberries and dark chocolate. My goodness, you would not believe what this does to your system. And this helps to reduce the amygdala, which helps you move forward. Okay, so I've talked about the amygdala hijack. What I also want to go back to and recap on what I said at the beginning. Now, people get stuck in a rut. They'll wake up some morning, and you might say to yourself, as I have done, as many people I've worked with have done, is this what life is about? How do I move away from where I am to move into a winning side of life, to achieve my dreams? Well, it works through breakthrough, because we've been conditioned through our filter systems. We've been conditioned by the amygdala hijack to act in a particular way. We've been conditioned by the food and drink that we eat and drink. So the first step is understanding these things, getting an awareness of neurology, what it's about, and particularly of the amygdala hijack. Now, following that, there's a number of quizzes, assessments, where you can assess yourself against tens and tens of thousands of people across the world who have taken these quizzes, these tests, and you can see where you may have an area that needs some work. So for instance, you'd look at internal awareness, external awareness, you'd look at relationship skills, you'd look at personality skills to see why you have got yourself in a particular position, a way of thinking, a way of doing, a way of acting. And to help you out, guys, part of one of the full assessments, what I call a relationship quotient and the emotional quotient assessment or quiz, I'll put the link up in a minute, and it's to help you. It's a free quiz. Take it yourself, score it yourself. It tells you what the score is, and it tells you where you fit against tens of thousands of people across the world who have done the same test. And it also provides you with about 2 or 3 pages worth of improvement tips that you can start to introduce in your life. Right, I've talked for 22 minutes, so I'm just going to ask you any questions and see where you've come to. Okay, we've got people. Oh my goodness, we've got people from all over the world, and this is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for turning up and listening to someone who is passionate about neurological research and about personal improvement. Now, I'm just going to put this up as well, because a lot of the stuff I've talked about today is in my book, Become Unstoppable, and I'm not pushing this as a sale, guys. For today, for the 12th of May, the Kindle version is free to you to download, and you'll see it talks about neurology. It talks about many of the things as well as the amygdala hijack. Now, it closes down at midnight Pacific time, which is about 8 o'clock in the morning on the 13th UK time. So you've got plenty of time. This is totally free. Please, please, please take a look. Just get it down if you like it. If it helps, that's great. And if it doesn't, well, it's cost you nothing. So just go for it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you guys the links. And in fact, I'm learning this new software at the same time. I'm going to put the links in. So I hope you can hear me. Last time I tried to share a page, it went dead. But I put the link in the chat, and I'll put the link on the on my Facebook page later on. I think it takes about an hour to download this. I'll upload it to a Facebook page so you can have a look, see if you've missed anything. In the interim, please let me know if you've got any questions. More than happy to do a QA on this or any other subject. I am so passionate about helping people, that's what I do. I just love it. I love to help people. I don't like to see people in distress, and I don't like to see people not achieving their latent potential. Took me a while to understand, and I got some help, and I promised that person that I would help others if I can. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming along. Next week, we'll be back to Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, USA, 7 p.m. local UK. Please let me know if you've got any questions, and take care. Honestly, this virus, this pandemic, it's scary. Take care. Listen to what you believe is true. Make sure you're congruent, and by congruent, your brain and heart giving the same signal, the same message. And if there's an incongruence, you've got to sit down and meditate and think, why is your heart giving you a different message to your brain? I love you. Bye-bye.